Ooh, that looks tasty.
Hey, look at me. My name's Vinny. I'm happy to come to your restaurant and kind of check it out. You see, I am the owner and proprietor of Vinny's Voracious Food Vlog. Yeah, that's vlog with a V. And you know, I put a V in front of food because it's cool, right? So tell me what you got. Let me show you see all your best dishes, your best offerings, okay? And of course, I'm not going to be paying for any of this, okay? Welcome, folks. Today, the Hungry Gamer is back with another game review. And today, we are talking about Rival Restaurants, designed by Rob Chu, John Kang, and Gary Alaka, with art by Audrey Young, and published by Gap Closure Games. Now, this is a game that was kickstarted last year, successfully fulfilled, and they just recently had their second successful Kickstarter for an expansion. And they had actually sent me this game right around their second Kickstarter, and I've been trying to get this reviewed. It's a very cool game. I was very excited about it, but I couldn't get a large group of players together for a significant amount of time. And what wound up happening is I played it 2-player, and then Shelter in Place happened, and it's now impossible for me to get this done in any reasonable time frame to really talk about the high player count. So what I did was I dove back in, and I'm really focusing on the 2-player variant that the game offers. And if you find that you're interested in this, there will be a link to the Pledge Manager down in the description. Now, before I go any further, please make sure you turn on your Klingon subtitles, because if I make any mistakes, that is where you will find the correction. Now, Rival Restaurants is a resource management, worker placement, bidding, auction style game. And if you are not interested in how this game is played, then you're going to jump ahead to the timestamp on the screen right now. For those of us who are still here, let's break down how the game is played. And what I will do is I'll just give you the basic breakdown of how it's played, and then I will tell you the 2-player variant after that. So what's going to happen is every player will wind up with a single chef, and there's a fair amount, and each chef has its own individual power down at the bottom. In addition to that, whatever chef you wind up getting, you will also get a standee of said chef. And in addition to that, each chef will wind up with a restaurant. And you'll see I have the Luchador Picante here, which is a Mexican restaurant, and you'll get bonuses for cooking Mexican dishes. And each of the other restaurants you'll see, based on the restaurant, you'll get bonuses depending on what kind of dish you cook. And each restaurant also has a different scoring track, and as you are more and more popular, you will get different powers as you go. Some of them are immediate actions, and others will be a permanent power that you wind up getting. Then the next thing that happens is each player gets one ingredient from each of the 6 markets around the board. And I'll talk about how those work in just a little bit. Finally, each player gains 1 random basic recipe, I'll just put that right up here, and 1 advanced recipe, and I'll put that up here. And every player places their scoring marker along the side of their restaurant there to mark how many points they have or how many likes their restaurant has. Each round is broken down into a couple of phases. The first phase is money and move. And so every player will get $300 at the beginning of every day. Then they will select which of these 6 markets or the island that they would like to go to. And they do that by using this wheel here. And you see they just pick where they're going to go, put that on the red, and then they will flip it over until everyone has chosen. Then at the same time, everyone will reveal. Then if you're not going to the island, which I'll talk about in just a minute, what you do is you go to your market that you've selected and you place yourself on one of the ingredients. That's the ingredient that you want the most. And obviously you are gaining ingredients so you can make your recipes. And if, say, more than one player winds up on the same ingredient, it's going to wind up becoming a bidding war. I'll talk about that in just a second. Once everyone's moved, you move into the second phase, which is buying and bartering. And that is when you flip your timer and you can buy whatever you want from the market that you are at. Now, if two players are on the same space, it becomes a bidding war. You're just bidding each other up and up and up, with the minimum value being what is on the board. You can also, in addition to buying the things here off of the counter, you can buy from the shelf here, which means you just take a random card and you flip it over, and that's what you get. During this phase, you're also, as I said, able to trade with other players. So you can trade whatever it is that you would like and get different ingredients, trade them for something, make promises. It's completely up to you. Then once the time is out, everyone comes back to their restaurant with their new ingredients. Additionally, the furthest over ingredient on each counter then expires. It goes away, and they will all come off. Everything slides down, and a new one comes out. Now, additionally, there is the island in the middle. The island is a place where you can buy upgrades for your restaurant, and you'll see the prices are here. You can get recipe books, which means after you cook a recipe, you get more options of what your next one's going to be. You can get a double cooktop, meaning you can cook 2 recipes at once. You can get social media advertising or a celebrity endorsement, which means you make more money each day. You get the idea. You're also able to, for $100, dispose of trash. You'll learn about trash in just a minute. And the last thing you can do is you can buy an action card for $300. I also should have said that each chef gets an action card to start the game. And you'll see most of these are take that kind of cards. Every now and then it's something that is just a bonus for you, but for the most part it's something that will affect the other players. Then once the buying and bartering is done, you go to Cook and Counter, which is very simple. If you have all of the ingredients for one of your recipes, you can cook it. Then you look and it tells you up here how many likes it will get you, and you might get a bonus if you are cooking the same dish that you're doing here, and then you simply move up your likes. Then let's just say I had cooked my basic recipe here. I would discard that and draw a new one, and I continue going. Now the other thing is you get garbage. You'll see down at the bottom. In this case, I would have received 1 garbage. Now I can keep garbage all I want. But if I cook another dish, for every garbage that I still have that I haven't thrown away at the dumpster, I will lose 1 like. So if I were to cook this dish right here, which would normally get me 3, I have a garbage, I would only get 2. And that's it. That is how the game is played. The winner is the first person to get to 20, and I'll also point out that as you get different upgrades, you just simply take a clip and you put it right onto your card like so. And the game also comes with very handy little player aids that tell you what the phases of the game are and what everything is and what you can do with it. Now, the difference in the 2-player variant is that you do not have just one chef. You wind up with a team of 3 chefs for each player. And in addition to your 3 chefs that you might have, you will wind up with I like to call it a sous chef. And this one is always your NPC chef that will be going out. Each day you'll pick one of these 3 to be your active chef, and you will use their standee to go shopping, and they will be the one that does cooking for you. And you'll also place your NPC. Now your NPC, as it goes around, if it winds up at the same market as an other player's head chef, you will wind up with the ability to use their power at the bottom. If the NPC winds up with the other NPC, the powers do not activate. Now that I'm talking about powers, it's also very important that I point out again that each chef has its own power on the bottom. Some of them are activated during the bartering phase, some of them when you're cooking. All of it just changes up what it is you can do and how you do it. And so that's the only difference in the 2-player variant, is that each round you have 2 wheels that you're setting, one for your NPC, one for your active chef, and you're sending them both out. I also need to add, and I apologize for not saying this earlier, that an NPC can buy stuff from a market, but it costs $100 more for them to do it. So, what do I like about this game? Well, first off, I really enjoy the art. I just love this cartoon, larger than life vibe that the game has. It's just delightful. I think everything is just so well done. Even you look at these restaurants, they're just so ridiculous and so much fun. They're gorgeous to look at, as you see. And I also think there's a very good variety over here of different powers that unlock, different abilities that and rewards that unlock as you go up. Each one's very, very different, which makes it a lot of fun. It's a slightly different game every time you play. Along with that, all the powers on each of the individual chefs are just also very unique and very different. A lot of times you look at one and say, oh, that one's definitely better, until you see somebody use one of the other ones, like, oh, that's why that's a good power. And so that's just delightful. I think there is great fun in the bartering phase. You don't do it too much in two-player, but later in the game, when people have a whole bunch of ingredients, then you really start to. And what makes it work is the timer. This is all the time you have. So you can kind of play that game. My wife almost flipped the table on me the other night because we were both going after this one single sweet fruit over here. And we both had our standees on it, but neither of us wanted to be the one to start the bidding up. And I knew that I could get it anyway because I had an action card. And so I just ignored it. I was doing all my other stuff. She said, well, aren't you going to start the bidding for that? I was like, no, I'm doing other stuff. And it was right at the end of the timer she realized that I was just being a jerk about it. And so she, snarfled it up real quick. And it's good fun. It really is. I think the mechanic of the garbage is one, both thematic, and it really adds a lot to the game because you really have to plan out what it is that you are going to do. How are you going to play it? Because you can see, well, okay, I gotta go here and get this, and here and get this, then I can make this. But you have all the garbage added into it. And all this garbage here that you're adding into it suddenly is tough because then you have to get rid of the garbage. So now you're thinking, did I want to go to the Mystery Mart over here and get some tofu, which would give me less garbage and replace some meat, but it's really expensive to get the tofu? There's lots of options, and this Mystery Mart adds to that. It gives bonuses you can get, substitutions you can use to make it easier to make your recipes or make them worth more money, or. Along with that, the expiration mechanic is just so needed and adds a little bit of tension. One, if there's something nobody needs, it will be cycling out every round. But two, if you have something that you need, like, so here I am, I need this beef. Well, I don't have too long before it's gone. And it might be gone for a long time if it winds up there. And so there's a pressure, there's a strategy, like, oh gosh, what am I gonna do? Do I wanna go there now? Or do I wanna send my NPC chef there, my sous chef, but it's gonna cost me $300 to get that? Gosh, that's really expensive. But if I don't do it now, maybe I can. And it's great choices that you have to make. So what are my quibbles about the game? And the first one that I have has to do with the setup of the board. It looks really cool, especially from the top down, it really looks cool. But when you're sitting across the table, it's actually a little hard to see what is on the other side sometimes. And that's not huge, but you're sitting there, you're kind of standing up to look over and be like, oh yeah, there's tofu and wine over there. And they're asking you, hey, is there any bread over there? Like, yeah, there's bread right here, but then they have to remember where it is. And it's not perfect. And it's a shame because this little insert that comes out is just amazing. It stores everything so well. I will also say that these wheels here, well, the idea I get, and it's very cool, I wish that they weren't so spinny. Because what can happen is, as you put stuff down, if you just brush it just a little bit, suddenly you're going somewhere else. And that's just a bummer. I find when we play, we have to be very, okay, I have the island, turn it over and put it down carefully and hope that we haven't flipped it. And so I'm hoping in the expansion reprint, they'll be a little bit tighter, so that's a little bit easier. And the other thing that I will add, and this doesn't bother me, but it does bother my wife a little bit because she doesn't like Take That very much, is that these action cards are aggressive, and they're very, very nasty what you can do. You can just shut down their whole restaurant for a day and completely blow up their plan. Now, like I said, it doesn't bother me. I actually think it adds a lot of fun to the game. However, be warned that there is a decent amount of take that can come into this game. So if you don't like that at all, just be warned about that. I will also say that I personally think that this game is really going to shine at 3, 4, and 5 players. I've enjoyed playing it 2-player, and I will say that my wife really likes it 2-player to the point to where she was just asking me last night if I can go late pledge for the expansion because she is really interested in getting some more chefs and stuff. And she really enjoyed the 2-player because what she doesn't like is she doesn't love chaos. And so with 3, 4, 5 players, you're going to get a whole bunch of chaos. With 2 players, it's much more ordered, and the bartering is a little more calm and ordered, as it were. So that's not a quibble, really, but it's a warning. You know, who are you going to play this with? If you have a bigger group of people that you can play this with, and you like chaos, oh, it's going to be great. If you don't like chaos and want to play with a big group, this might not be for you. If you don't like chaos and like being able to kind of plan and try to execute on your plan, then this at 2-player is actually really, really fun. So there you have it, folks. So that is Rival Restaurants. I think this is a fun game for the main game and expansion. It's a good, fun family game that you can play. It's not hard to play. If you enjoy a game that gets kind of chaotic, as it really will, I'm sure, with the timer going, then this could be a great option. The things that you can do to each other with the action cards are great fun, and they just throw huge monkey wrenches out there. I think the powers are good. All these things. It's slightly asymmetric. So if that's something you're looking for, this is a great, great option. I think it's also a good 2-player game if you're looking for something not chaotic and structured and ordered. So there you have it, folks. That is Rival Restaurants. They have open now a pledge manager for the expansion, which is going to include more recipes and more chefs and some more restaurants and more action cards. And you can, of course, also get the base version and the deluxe base version as well. As always, if I made any mistakes in the explanation, please let me know in the comments with a timestamp, and I will get that into the Klingon subtitles. If you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, or share. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.